Welcome to another edition of the Insider Mailbag. I'm Jared Johnson. I'm joined by the mighty Joe Yeager. A happy mighty Joe Yeager because Red Raider basketball has finally begun. It has tipped off, and boy, did they tip off in fashion Tuesday night. We have a lot of questions actually surrounding Tech basketball in general. We're here in the USA. Actually, normally we shoot outside, different locations on campus, but we are hiding from the rain, and of course, no better place than here than the home of the Red Raiders. So we have some great questions from y'all. We're going to dive right into them. Mighty Joe, first one comes from our friend Tech Freak, who was one of our gracious hosts when we were up there in Minneapolis for the Final Four, right? We partied with him and his lovely wife and his friends. That was a lot of fun. He has a question actually about football this time. He says, obviously Wells gets a pass this year. What is the bar for next year from Kirby? 6 wins in a bowl he threw out there. I haven't heard anything about any kind of win mark he needs to hit. I don't think Wells is at that point yet. I mean, he's 2/3 of the way through his first year. Now, the fans have already made their decision, I think, in a lot of ways, but I haven't heard anything. I haven't operated under that assumption that there is a win total. Now, obviously, I would say getting to a bowl game should be the bottom, right? I mean, it should be at least the expectation pretty much every year, right, Joe?
Yeah, I mean, considering you have to do so little, relatively speaking, to get to a bowl game, I mean, it's not that dramatic of an accomplishment. And so, yeah, I would think that in his second year, you would hope he would be able to accomplish that. But I agree, I don't think there is any sort of a hard, fast, line or litmus that Hokut has already put in place and said, well, if you don't do this, you're gone. No. Now, I will say this. If there was something totally disastrous that happened where you won 2 games all year, then I don't know. Maybe it could get a little bit interesting, but I don't see that happening. And so I think he's safe for another year, regardless, basically.
Yeah, I haven't even, other than when fans ask me, basically this question, I haven't even considered this because he's a 6-year contract. This was Kirby Hokut's obviously his choice. This is who he wanted here. He's going to give him some time, I believe, and I think he should give him some time. Or why else bring him in here?
Yeah, but he's known for giving people some time for the most part, isn't he?
Well, Cliff was a special case.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, Texas Tech Austin wants to know, he says, in honor of Mighty Joe's past job interviews, what would you say is the current spirit animal for the 2019 football team? And let's say basketball team as well.
Okay. For the football team, I mean, I struggle with this just like I did the question in the dadgum job interview.
Which you did not get, right?
Which I did not get. So maybe you won't see this after all. I don't know. But I don't know, man. I mean, maybe a chameleon because a team that changes colors and is just you
Looks
never
really
know.
good against Oregon or against Oklahoma State and Baylor, and then not so much.
Flat ugly against some other teams, Oklahoma and whatnot. So yeah, it's kind of a hard thing to know what you're getting with this team and what color of team is going to show up depending on the opponent. So I would go there.
Basketball team.
With basketball.
Put you on the spot, 'cause I didn't give you any warning.
Right. How about, I don't know, a king cobra?
King Cobra. That sounds good.
Because it's pretty venomous, I mean, they're showing the ability to strike. They're aggressive.
Yeah.
They're dangerous
Fast.
and intimidating. Yeah, fast, very quick. Lots of good reflexes on this team. So, yeah, let's go ahead and go with that old king.
King Cobra. I like that. What about street dogs, right? Didn't Coach Beard call? He's a street dog, team of street dogs, right?
Now, that was last year's team was the street dogs.
Okay.
Maybe this year's the Cobras.
King Cobra.
Yeah.
All right. So you gotta let him know about that. Maybe he'll incorporate it if he wins Coach of the Year again or
Is
something.
there a rap song about a cobra or something
I'm
like
sure
that?
there is, Joe. I'm too old to know that. All right, we'll ask Bradley. All right, Bradley's the young blood. He probably knows. All right, next question comes from Eastland. He wants to know if there's any injury update with the team. Yeah, Coach Wells actually opened his Monday presser with that. There's 3 guys that. Well, first, Armand Shine's out for the season. That's a big loss, and I really like Armand. Getting to know him a little bit, interviewing him some during the recruiting process. I know he was really hopeful for this season, and he showed a lot of promise. So I hate that for him. Of course, you always hate when guys get hurt like that. He broke his ribs. If the Red Raiders are able to go to a bowl game, Wells did not rule out the possibility of him coming back for that. So there's some hope there anyways. Des Smith is day-to-day. Evan Rambo, day-to-day. Trying to think about who else was day-to-day. Those were the main ones. Alan Bowman and Maverick McIver are both daily processes. He's hesitated to say day-to-day, but said that basically they're throwing, they're close to being back, but they're not sure in terms of if they're going to be ready for this week. I don't expect either one of them this week in Morgantown. I think it's Jeff's show, but we'll see. We'll have to see. I'm not ruling out anything, but I believe it's going to be Jet this week, and then I think they're operating under, let's just see what happens this week and then go from there. So because then you start considering Alan Bowman's red shirt, if that matters to him or not. Maverick McIver, that's not as much of a consideration because he hasn't played yet, so he can play in all 4 games and still return his red shirt. All right, next question comes from Mr. Clicks, who, man, great basketball discussion. He's always posting great tidbits and some good info on the board. He wants to know what the inside scoop on Nimari Burnett is. He said he saw that I made a crystal ball pick for him, and because he says I'm typically very careful with my selections. And yeah, I am. I do take it seriously. I don't want to just throw them out there. And I'm not one of those guys who's going to switch a lot. I try and keep it legit, And if a guy tells me he's going to commit the next day, I'm not going to throw a crystal ball pick out there and spoil his announcement, of course. Now with Burnett, I mean, obviously one of the biggest recruitments in the country. He's a 5-star guy. He would be, if he signed with Texas Tech, the highest rated guy to ever sign with Texas Tech, at least in the modern era, since they've had all these rating systems. As far as for my info, yeah, I have from a good source that Tech is currently leading. I know that Burnett had a very good official visit here, and his mama did. And I'm telling you, man, when mama enjoys a visit, that is normally a big deal. It doesn't matter the sport. It could be soccer. It could be water polo. If mama likes the campus and likes the program and the coach, obviously she does, that's a huge feather in the cap. So
Mama's happy, everybody's happy.
That's right. So all those things combined is why I put the crystal ball pick in for Texas Tech for Nimari Burnett. So it's been reported that he's not going to announce anything until December, so we'll have to see if that's the way it plays out. But needless to say, this is something we're keeping an eye on, at least on a daily basis.
I wonder how much of a factor Terrence Shannon may play in this. They're both Chicago guys, right?
And Peavy, I know him and Peavy have talked too, so the fact that Peavy committed was huge.
Yeah, so, I mean, seems like Tech has some stuff going in their favor.
Absolutely. Mr. Mustafa Mon wants to know, is Ramsey a one and done? Well, I know it's at least been mentioned that he's at least showing up on some draft boards. Joe, what do you think?
Yeah, I think he's borderline one and done right now.
Yeah.
And now some of that depends obviously on what he considers good enough to be one and done.
Oh, sure.
I mean.
And we have not talked with Ramsey about that. So.
Yeah, and it's so early,
Right.
But I mean, if you think that most guys, if they are projected solidly in the first round, that's kind of one and done, right?
I'm gonna tell, wouldn't you?
Yeah. If you're confident you're going to go in the first round, you go. So, and I would say right now, just eyeballing it, that he's probably borderline for that right now. He's got to get a bigger body of work together, which only happens with more game play, and particularly against tougher competition.
Big 12 play in the tournament. I mean, really, the tournament. You look at what Zaire did in the tournament. Obviously, that was a huge part. I believe. I mean, the talent was there, the potential was there, but him having those shining moments basically in the tournament were a huge factor.
Yeah, that's right. And the Louisville game as well is going to be something where that's a real big stage for him.
That was big for Jared. I was there. The scouts went crazy with that.
Right. Sure. So if you can do it against those kinds of guys, then at that point, I think you move from kind of borderline into, he's one and done if he wants to go.
Pretty exciting stuff. It seems like every year they have a one and to go from never having it to a one and done every year. I mean, it really is amazing what's transpired here in Lubbock under Coach Beard. All right, final question. Raider Power 81 wants to know, will Joel Ntambwe get his eligibility, and what's the status of his brother's recruitment? He said he thinks he's a top 5 prospect. He's talking about Jonathan Kuminga, who is the #1 rated prospect in the 2021 class now. What an amazing talent he is as well. But I mean, Joel Ntambwe, we talked about how important he could be, what a huge factor he could be in determining, honestly, the ceiling for the Red Raiders, and I think after seeing how well they played even without him, and I know we have a lot of respect for Eastern Illinois and the team they are, but they're not Kansas. They're not, Louisville. So in terms of talent. So in order to beat those teams, we're talking about get back to even having a shot at making a run at another Final Four. I think Joel and Tomboy is a must. Now, in terms of when we might find out, it was reported on the telecast that they expect to know by Thursday. The coaching staff knows by Thursday. I haven't specifically confirmed that with anyone, but and with the NCAA, I'm always hesitate to assume anything. So I'd like to hope that report was right, and we'll know something soon. And maybe by the time you watch this, we already know.
Well, I mean, if they really do know when it's going to be announced,
You think they know?
then maybe they know the result.
Right.
And Beard was pretty chipper in the press conference last night. So, hey, maybe it wasn't just the performance of the team, but maybe he knows a little something. Maybe he knows a little something about Joel. Maybe he knows a little something about Nemari.
Briefly, just break down what Joel would. I know we talked about it a lot. We've asked about it a lot, but we're already talking about. So, what does Joel and Tomboy potentially bring to the Red Raiders?
Yeah, he's first off, he gives you he gives you a front court guy, and that's what you need.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the wings and the guards are rock solid, deep, point guard types. That's not an issue.
Right.
But you do have a little bit of thinness up front, particularly with Tyreek Smith being out. Russell Chiwa, we still don't know yet. He shows some signs here and there. I mean, he's a massive dude. I mean, he's the biggest player I've ever seen play for Tech, I think. He's huge. Not just tall, but he dwarfs almost everybody out there on the court. And that is valuable. So I think he's going to have a role. But Tomboy is a different cat. I mean, he's in the 6'8" to 6'9" range, slender guy, more athletic, mobile. Just gives you a lot of different kinds of options up front. I mean, he's got the ability to score, a decent rebounder. He can go outside. He can play a little bit inside. He's just, kind of a typical classical Beard kind of a guy, who can just switch and play a lot of different things and help you out in a lot of different ways. But you just need another body to throw in there up front, I think.
Yeah, I like what you said initially, but also like the fact that he's another guy who can create his own shot. Which, man, hey, that never hurts in this game, that's for sure. So, Mighty Joe, man, I think that's going to do it for this edition. Great stuff from you as always. Great questions from y'all, and until next time.